Hi there, I'm at the annual ViewSonic ColorPro Awards, and I'm talking to Thomas Müller, who's the Vice President for Western Europe. Can I begin, Thomas, by asking, the ColorPro Awards is now in its fourth year. Is there anything particularly different about the awards this year?
Yeah, I think also we are increasing the number of entries and countries that people who are working with us, and that's a major difference because we have over 100 countries now. So when we get applications and we have over 10,000 applications this year, so it was rise from last year. So and we added video.
Right.
We don't have just only photo now, also video as a separate category as a award.
Good step. I mean, obviously, the competition theme this year is Rise. What does Rise mean to ViewSonic?
I think Rise means for us as a ViewSonic, and we want to rise our products. We want to rise our versus our competition. So when we ask our community to rise, to work with us, to engage, to directly work, to doing the work with our products, right? So, and then this is what we're expecting from them, and that's why we erase or take that slogan.
Okay. Can I ask specifically how ColorPro monitors help photographers?
I think it's a tool, right? So and what they should work with, and I think our monitors are excellent in terms of color to work with. So I think we have the best color reproduction from the panel itself. You have a color wheel where you can have a good working method with. So and you have the software around which will make you work. You can faster work. You can work more professional. You can work efficient. With all that thing, you have a color hood, or I'll read today a portal dark room, right? We call it a hood. So I thought episode where they're all things what they need and what we can offer, and this for a very good price-performance ratio. That's what we're looking for.
Excellent. Out of all the competition entries this year, which are fantastic, do you have a personal favorite?
I think it's a little bit subjective. We have a committee for that. For me, itself, it says the picture or the video which have the best story as a favorite. So, and therefore, I was looking to the photographs, and I would say number 8. Maybe it's a little bit counterproductive when I'm saying because this is a board and not an interactive or digital board. But I think this is telling me a lot about how the people work, and maybe a little bit. How that they do not complain, they're using whatever they have.
Sure.
It shows and it tells for me the story that we should not complain about small things always. We should really work with the things what we have and should make the best out of it.
That's brilliant. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Hi there, I'm at the ViewSonic ColorPro Awards with Dan Rubin, who's part of the judging panel. If I can ask Dan, first of all, to sort of tell us a bit about the whole judging process.
Oh yeah, well thanks, Geoff. Well, this year there were thousands of entries, which thankfully the jury didn't need to look at. There was a secondary jury that culled for us. But we had hundreds of amazing entries in the photography category and in the video category. And the process itself is very time consuming, and just by those numbers, right? As a judge, you take it very seriously because when you decide that you're giving an image or a film a particular rating, because that's how we do it. You kind of go through everything, you look at the story of how it was created and what's behind it, and then you look at the work itself. You have to take that very seriously and take your time with it because you're judging across a panel. The averages and the totals are what are going to determine the winners, essentially. And the winners, as you see behind us here in the photo category, and then we'll see the videos later, those inspire people the following year, and they'll inspire people around the world. So I take it very seriously that I want to make sure that I'm rewarding images and stories that are really being true to the theme,
right,
and that are showing what what I feel is a good representation of good work, whatever that happens to be. I try as much as possible to keep my own personal preference out of it and really make it about the theme, which this year is Rise, and the theme, the storytelling, and just, you know, looking at what you feel like someone was trying to communicate, and trying as best I can to reward that.
Yeah. And obviously there's some absolutely fantastic images.
Stunning work.
But in terms of picking the final three, the kind of ultimate overall winners, I'm guessing that's quite a difficult decision, right?
It is, especially when you're faced with so much good work. I mean, if you look at the top 20 images alone, you could kind of put any of them in the top three because they're all really, really good. So the decision-making process when you go from, say, 300 to 20, that's a whole lot easier than going from 20 to 3. But again, it comes down to the same thing. You know that you've got your finalists,
right? And
the goal has to be, of these images, what best represents the theme, and also what gives the most kind of diversity, not just of image, but as much as possible kind of just the story, the location. We don't know everything about the images that were taken. We don't know everything about the photographers themselves. But as much as possible, you have to try and say, well, if these are the top three images that people see, and these are representing what we want to say are award-winning images to this theme, if they were to inspire someone next year to do the same kind of thing, would this be leading them in the right direction?
Right.
And that's kind of how I
completely. I understand that you've been involved in quite a few photography competitions.
Yes.
Can I ask specifically what it is that you like about the ViewSonic Awards?
Well, so I started judging in 2021, which I believe was the first year they did the ColorPro Awards. And what I loved is that rather than having many categories, like a lot of the competitions I judge have, where they're all split into fairly traditional categories, the way that ViewSonic and ColorPro approach the awards is to have a single theme.
Right.
And that's quite unique, and it actually provides a more open canvas for creativity, because it still requires people to tell a story, and it can be with work that already exists or work that they've created for it. It doesn't really matter, but it's about focusing people on a theme, which is more about storytelling ultimately. And so, again, this year it's Rise, which can be taken and interpreted in a lot of different ways. And that's kind of one of the fascinating things for me about this competition. And it totally changes the way that I judge the work as well. It's much more story-driven, and there is plenty of interpretation, obviously, but you have to look at an image and look at the story that is submitted along with it in writing. Say, like, does this fit the theme, and how well does it represent the theme? And that's not always the case if you're judging an architecture category. You're not thinking so much, the theme is architecture. It's very, very obvious whether it fits the theme or not. But those traditional themes, there's nothing wrong with them, but a competition that has the more traditional categories, say, produces work that tends to be a lot more traditional. And it's not to say that it isn't creative, but the scope for creativity tends to be a little bit more limited because of those traditional categories. And that's what I love about the ColorPro Awards.
That's great, Dan.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure, Geoff.